This is Stage Left Planet, and I'm your host, Warby Wimbush. And today's episode is The Singularity and the Ballad of John Henry. That's right. Now, John Henry is a tragic hero of African American folklore. He was a steel driver for the railroad. He was known as the fastest, strongest steel driver. No one or nothing could outperform him until the railroad started using a steam drill to increase manpower slash work output. In the ultimate competition of man versus machine, John set out to prove that he could work faster and farther than the steam drill with two 10-pound hammers in his hand and having drilled 9 feet. John Henry claimed victory, only to realize that he worked himself to death whilst the steam drill just kept on drilling, honey. Now, here's a poem. The poem is long, but I'll try to read it fast. Here we go. When John Henry was a little tiny baby sitting on his mama's knee, he picked up a hammer and a little piece of steel, saying, "Hammer's gonna be to the death of me, Lord, Lord. Hammer's gonna be to the death of me." John Henry was a man just 6 feet high, nearly 2 feet and a half across his breast. He'd hammer with a 9-pound hammer all day, and he never get tired and want to rest. Lord, Lord, he never get tired and want to rest. John Henry went up on the mountain, and he looked one eye straight up his side. The mountain was so tall and John Henry was so small. He laid down his hammer and he cried, "Lord, Lord." He laid down his hammer and he cried. John Henry said to his captain, "Captain, you go to town. Bring me back a 12-pound hammer, please. And I'll beat that steam drill down. Lord, Lord, I'll beat that steam drill down." The captain said to John Henry, "I believe this mountain's sinking in." But John Henry said, "Captain, just you stand aside. It's nothing but my hammer catching wind. Loud, loud, it's nothing but my hammer catching wind." John Henry said to his shaker, "Shaker, boy, you better start to pray. 'Cause if my 12-pound hammer missed that little piece of steel, tomorrow will be your burying day. Loud, loud, tomorrow will be your burying day." John Henry said to his captain, "A man is nothing but a man, but before I let you steam drill beat me down, I'd die with a hammer in my hand. Loud, loud, I'd die with a hammer in my hand." The man that invented the steam drill, he figured he was mighty high and fine. But John Henry sunk the steel down 14 feet, while the steam drill only made 9. Loud, loud, the steam drill only made 9. John Henry hammered on the right-hand side. The steam drill kept driving on the left. John Henry beat that steam drill down, but he hammered his poor heart to death. Lord, Lord, he hammered his poor heart to death. While they carried John Henry down the tunnel, they laid his body in the sand. Now, everyone riding on the sea in old train, it says, "There lies my steel driving man, Lord, Lord. There lies my steam driving man." And I mentioned this in a previous video, but here goes again. John Henry was mentioned on the Cosby Show's episode season 6. Well, season 6, episode 2, Surfs Up. I got a link that where you can go read about it on subscriptlike.com. Mankind is already being worked to death by trying to keep up with technology and by being overworked by technology. Technology sometimes becomes a convenience that turns into an inconvenience, honey. It makes you too accessible and multiplies your work demands. It robs you of your work life balance. It turns you into a man machine. It is leading you into the singularity. Now, let's talk about if John Henry had merged with the steam drill. Singularity. It would be the singularity of John Henry. John Henry could have kept going if he possessed within himself the very technology that was at the cause of his demise. Ray Kurzweil, futurists and technologists would perhaps agree. He feels that the human skull is structured to allow enough growth of the brain to store the ever increasing amount of existing information and new information is being generated. Technology systems such as artificial intelligence and cloud type systems can do so. Therefore, it is essential to the survival of mankind to merge man with the machine, according to people, humanists such as Ray Kurzweil. Yet, Kurzweil, from what I've researched, is agnostic. Therefore, he doesn't have a definitive belief in God nor in the existence of a soul. God gave me the revelation that your soul is an organic machine that allows us to interact with the physical world. The soul is the energy source of the body. TVs, computers, and smart devices shut down without an energy source. Their screens turn black, you know. Our bodies shut down, die without our souls. Our eyes, which some people say are the windows to the soul, turn black, tage noir. The brain, okay, unlike what Kurzweil seems to think, the brain doesn't need to grow to acquire and retain more information. Because as said, your soul learns and feels and interacts. And God is the owner of our souls. So when you die, your soul goes to the Lord and He decides what happens to it. Your soul goes to God and He decides what happens to it. He'll even decide to send it back to your body, as we saw with Lazarus and with Elijah when this woman's son had died and Elijah prayed for his soul to be sent back to his body. And when Paul, if I'm not mistaken, or it may have been Peter, he was preaching and he preached along a person who was listening to him fell asleep and fell out of a window to his death. And I think it was Peter, it may have been, but let me see, Peter or Paul. Let's see, Paul, man fell out of window. Let me type Peter. I ain't seen nothing about no Eutychus fell from the window while Paul was teaching. That's what it was, a Eutychus. That's in Acts 20. Acts chapter 20, verse 9. And I have to go back and include that in the article that I've written that accompanies this video. So, the brain does not need to grow. The skull does not need to grow. The brain doesn't need to grow to acquire and retain more information. And humans retrieve information on a need to basis. Do humans misfire or not recall things stored? Sometimes, yet. Ooh, excuse me. Yet, the most advanced computers do with more frequency and less complexity. God is omnipresent. Satan is not omnipresent. He wants to be like God, who is the Most High. Isaiah 14:12 through 15 says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." I love that. I love Isaiah. I love to read Isaiah 14:12 through 15. That's good news. Using technology, particularly centralized technology, would turn the world into a global surveillance society that could be controlled. Using technology such as the social credit system would determine your worth based on Satan's judgment of your character from his perspective. He will determine the amount of freedoms that you have, the amount of money you've been allotted by his governing system, and various other nanny state methods. Satan will use people like Kurzweil to implement technology to invade your temple, your body, take over your God given machine, to turn you into that which German techno pop bands sang about, the Mensch machine, the man machine. This has been Stage Left Planet, and I'm your host, Warrior Wimbush. Please focus on God.